Hello and welcome. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. Israel marks October 7 attack anniversary with intensified strikes on Gaza and Lebanon. Hezbollah's rockets hit the Israeli port city of Haifa. Maldives President Mohamed Muizzu to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Bilateral, regional and international issues on the agenda. A massive blast outside Pakistan's Karachi airport leaves 2 Chinese nationals dead and several injured. Balochistan Liberation Army claims responsibility for the attack. Authorities urge evacuation as Florida braces for Hurricane Milton. Highest storm surge, destruction feared ahead of Wednesday's landfall. And India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will inaugurate Def Connect 4.0 in New Delhi, focus on advancing indigenous defence innovations for self-reliance. Our top story. It has been a year since terrorist group Hamas attacked southern Israel on October 7, killing around 1,200 people and taking about 250 as hostages. And that was the beginning of spiraling conflict in West Asia. The Israeli army released unseen footage of 2023 October 7 attacks, showing Israeli soldiers and border police forces operating in Kibbutz Reim, near which 364 people were killed at a music festival. Israel says it has killed more than 17,000 combatants in battle as of August and another 1,000 terrorists inside Israel. After intensive negotiations mediated by Qatar and Egypt, 105 hostages were released as part of a hostage deal last November in exchange for a pause in fighting. 8 hostages have been rescued by troops alive, and the bodies of 37 hostages have also been recovered. It is believed that 97 hostages remain in Gaza, including the bodies of at least 33 confirmed dead by the Israeli Defense Forces. And Israel is still experiencing attacks and missiles from Iran and Hezbollah, explosive drones from Yemen, fatal shootings and stabbings. In late September, Israel shifted some of its focus to Hezbollah, which holds much of the power in parts of southern Lebanon and some other areas of the country, attacking the terrorists with airstrikes and eventually a limited ground operation in Lebanon. And Israel has eliminated the vast majority of Hezbollah's top leadership in the last few weeks as it seeks to push the group away from the border and allow tens of thousands of evacuated residents to return to their homes. More Israeli troops are deployed near Gaza ahead of October 7 anniversary. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed victory against Hezbollah on Sunday during a visit to soldiers on the Lebanon border, recalling October 7 massacre anniversary.
A year ago, we suffered a terrible blow. For the past 12 months, we have been changing reality from end to end. The whole world is astounded at the blows you inflict on our enemies. And I salute you and tell you, you are the generation of victory. Together we will fight and together we will win with God's help.
And Israelis joined families of hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza in Tel Aviv on Sunday. Images of hostages held by Hamas were projected onto the walls of Jerusalem's old city on the first anniversary of the day they were taken captive.
It doesn't feel like 1 year. It feels like one whole day. It's devastating to think that they're still there, and we can't see any light at the end of the tunnel. Nothing is is done, and we are very scared for the lives of the ones that are still alive. We know that a lot of them are not alive, but we are fear that the ones that remained alive won't survive any longer, and we have to get them out of there as soon as possible.
Dinner, and we saw the whole, the lights with all the pictures, and it was just so hard to even comprehend that it's been a year, and we just want to bring them home already to their families, and we'll never forget what happened. Bring them home.
If you don't do whatever you can to get the hostages back, you're a partner in this crime. And we have to do whatever we can to get the hostages back. As the family of a hostage who was murdered in captivity, we don't care about revenge. We don't care whether the person who killed her is killed or not. That's not what we care about. What we care about is that the hostages that are now in Gaza come back home as quickly as possible. The hostages that are alive must come back alive, and the hostages that were killed must come back so they can be buried here in Israel.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and French President Emmanuel Macron spoke on Sunday evening following Macron's call for an arms embargo against Israel. Netanyahu reiterated Israel's position that given Iran's support for all parts of its axis of terrorism, Israel expects its friends to stand behind it and not impose restrictions that will only strengthen the Iranians' axis of evil. He also emphasized that Israel's action against Hezbollah are creating an opportunity to change the reality in Lebanon in favor of stability, security and peace in the entire region. The two leaders agreed to advance dialogue on the issue during the visit of the French foreign minister, who is scheduled to come to Israel. Earlier, French President Emmanuel Macron had called for ceasefire and halt to arms supply to Israel, which led to the brief spar between the two leaders. Meanwhile, at least 10 people were injured in Haifa on Sunday following a Hezbollah rocket attack that appeared to mark the first time the Iran-backed militant group has struck the northern Israeli city in its ongoing conflict with Israel. A residential building and road junction were damaged in Haifa on Monday after several rockets crossed the border from Lebanon in attack on Israel's third largest city. Hezbollah said it targeted a military base south of Haifa with a salvo of Fadi-1 missiles. And Israel Defense Forces struck multiple Hezbollah targets in Beirut on Sunday. The Israeli Air Force said it conducted strike on Hezbollah's intelligence headquarters, a weapons storage facility and other sites in Beirut. It also hit Hezbollah targets in the Bekaa area of southern Lebanon, including storage facilities, a command center and a launcher. The IDF said Hezbollah had deliberately embedded its command centers and weapons storage facilities under residential buildings in Beirut, endangering civilians. And funerals were held on Sunday for two Israeli soldiers who were killed during operations against the Iran-backed Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Both soldiers were 21 years old. The funeral for Staff Sergeant Ido Breuer took place in Nezoena, southeast of Tel Aviv, while Sergeant First Class Nazar Itkin was buried in Kiryat Atta in northern Israel, about 40 kilometers south of the Lebanese border. On October 3rd, the Israeli military confirmed 8 soldiers had been killed in clashes with Hezbollah fighters across the border. Alright, so it's been a year since terrorist group Hamas attacked southern Israel on October 7, killing around 1,200 people and taking about 250 hostages. And that was the beginning of the spiraling conflict in West Asia. In fact, the Israeli army has released unseen footage of 2023 October 7 attacks, showing Israeli soldiers and border police forces operating in Kibbutz Raim, near which 364 people were killed at a music festival. And we are getting you these visuals. Funerals were held on Sunday for 2 Israeli soldiers who were killed during operations against the Iran-backed Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. All right, my colleague Amit Mukherjee joins me live from New Delhi. Amit, crowds participating in protests and memorial events across Europe, North Africa and Asia on the eve of the first anniversary of Hamas attack on Israel and demanding that the bloodbath should end. Meanwhile, the attacks continue. Fill us in with more details.
Well, Abhishek, it's been almost a year. It's been a year now since, the October 7th episode had happened when Hamas squads had actually entered, abducted Israelis and conducted mass killing. After which, the war has been going on for the last 1 year, 365 days. But now we are entering into an absolutely different phase. The war is now moving into a phase of posturing, propaganda and messaging. From both sides, if you look at Iran, it has been backing its proxies in the war against Israel. But now, in fact, over the last 1 week after the Hezbollah chief, which again has been a key, ally of Iran, the Hezbollah chief was eliminated. Iran came out openly in support of all the actions against Israel. And they said, and Ayatollah Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran, made it very, very clear that there will be no stopping and they will be engaging with Israel in case of any retaliation. Now, following that, Israel also, a couple of days back, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also sent out a message specifically for people of Iran, saying that, this kind of a regime should come to an end. Historically, if you look at Iran, it has been a sort of a secular country, and it has been not under the regime of the Islamic Shiite regime, which it is currently under. So the perception has now moved on to the people, and both the leaders, in fact, Israeli as well as Iranian leaders, are talking about a lot of things, in terms of how this has kind of affected the entire peace in the West Asian region. Now, also one thing I would like to tell you, because it's all this killing, if you saw the last attack by Iran on Israel, Israel is yet to respond. A significant response is what we are yet to see as far as Israel is concerned. Remember, there were about 180 ballistic missiles which were fired into the Israeli territory by Iranians. But Israel is yet to respond to it. It has so far kept its actions only against the proxies of Iran, which is basically Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. So we haven't really seen any significant move as far as Israel is concerned, and everybody is waiting with a bated breath. Now, remember, Israel never discloses. It's very difficult to preempt what Israel's next move would be. So the eyes and attention is now focused on what Israel would do. And at the same time, we are also looking at a lot of pressure. Even within Iran, there's a lot of pressure that there should be a de-escalation, because Iran, Iranian people per se has not been directly involved in this conflict. It is only the proxies of Iran that has been waging the war. So internally, the youth of Iran is also putting a lot of pressure, of course. Even the allies of Iran have now mounted considerable pressure, saying that there should be peace and stability, and a ceasefire is required at this point in time.
Absolutely, and de-escalation doesn't seem to happen as of now. But Amit, from October 7 attacks last year to escalating tensions with Iran and Hezbollah, like you mentioned, the conflict doesn't seem to end. But where do you think this is headed?
Well, again, like I said, it's now emerging to be a war of optics and messaging. Today in the morning, in the early hours, Israel declared a complete victory over Hamas, which means that it has kind of dismantled all the platforms, all the installations and facilities associated with Hamas, and that is a very, very significant move. Israel's idea of declaring that it's a complete victory over Hamas. Now, even as Hezbollah is concerned, they have said that Hezbollah has been kind of defeated to a certain extent, and it has been rendered considerably weak. Now, what remains now is Houthis and a response, if it all happens, unless and until, if this is a kind of a ceasefire sort of a workout that we are looking at. Israel declaring that the war with Hamas is almost over, because it has now claimed victory over it. So, I mean, as the war continues, tensions are there. There are certain things which are moving, which are indicative of the fact that there could be some amount of peace that we might see in the next few days. But again, that is speculation, considering the fact the bombardments have been on for the in the last 24 hours as far as Israel is concerned. So Israel is leaving no stones unturned. And if you look at what IDF had said some time back, it said that no half-baked measures. It's time for a full-scale operation against all those who have been creating disturbance over the Israeli territories.
Right.
Whether it's Hamas, whether it's Hezbollah,
Right. I mean, it's
or
been
it's the Houthis.
Yeah, death and devastation in the Middle East. We'll leave it at that, Amir. Thank you for your inputs. And in a move to further Indo-Maldivian ties, Maldivian President Mohamed Muizzu is visiting India on his first bilateral visit to the country. It's a packed day today for him, which includes meeting top leadership and signing of agreements. Details in this report.
Situated in the heart of the Indian Ocean, India and the Maldives share more than just geographical proximity. These two democracies also share the same vision for prosperity in the region. With that in mind, Maldivian President Mohamed Muizzu landed in India's national capital, New Delhi, on Sunday for his first bilateral visit to the country. Sunday saw India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meeting with the visiting Maldivian president. Jaishankar appreciated his commitment to enhance India-Maldives relationship. President Muizzu's India visit will also feature meeting with India's President Murmu and discussions with Prime Minister Modi on bilateral, regional and international issues of mutual interest. President Muizzu will also visit Mumbai and Bengaluru, where he would be attending business events. India has been a trusted development partner for Maldives for decades. Some of the landmark projects started in the past include Indira Gandhi Memorial Hospital, built with Indian grant assistance in 1995. Maldives Institute of Technology, built at a cost of 12 crore rupees, was handed over to Maldives in 1996. India-Maldives Friendship Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism Studies was built with Indian grant assistance and was handed over to Maldives in the year 2014. India is supporting restoration of Hukuru Miski or the Friday Mosque in Malé. Greater Malé Connectivity Project aims to connect Malé to Willingili, Gulifalu and Thilafushi Islands via series of bridges, causeways and roads. Greater Malé Connectivity Project is funded through separate $400 million line of credit and $100 million grant from India. Greater Malé Connectivity Project is progressing well and is monitored regularly by a joint project monitoring committee. This development cooperation comes as the Maldives holds a special place in PM Modi's vision of Sagar, or security and growth for all in the region, and India's neighborhood first policy. Mihir Makhuri reporting for DD India.
All right, for more on this, I'm joined by my colleague Jessica Taneja from Delhi. Jessica, President Muizzu in India, tell us how significant is the visit?
Well, his first bilateral visit to India ever since he became the president. You recall the last time he visited India was during Prime Minister's oath-taking ceremony in June, where the heads of the likes of Sri Lanka and Bhutan were also joined in to be there for the Prime Minister's oath-taking ceremony, part of India's neighborhood first policy, which also includes Maldives and nations with which India has shared good relations in the past as well. Now, remember, Maldives is an important partner in the region, as the report also mentioned, particularly when it comes to the Sagar policy or the security and growth for all in the region, and also the Indian Ocean region. Maldives is an important partner, and with India's assistance in the past as well, it has shown greater momentum, although there was some thaw in the relationship, if you'd recall, back in the year, but all of it has now been erased and to an extent worked on by various consultations between the two governments and also sorting out and ironing out issues that did remain earlier. And this visit, of course, is important, as highlighted in the report, of various projects that are currently ongoing between India and Maldives. But you'd recall very recently, India had come out in support of Maldives by extending a budgetary support of $50 million. And that came in as a big relief for Maldives, which, of course, at this moment, at least not struggling economically, but if you go by the situation and the economic condition, it wouldn't take too long to move in a direction where it would require greater assistance the way Sri Lanka did. So maintaining relationships with India has become crucial for Maldives, and President Moitsu's visit to New Delhi and to Bengaluru and then to Mumbai as well goes on to show that India is an important partner, even though there could be various different geopolitical calculations in the region.
All right, Jessica, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. In Tunisia's presidential election, President Said set for landslide win amid low voter turnout. Ahead of presidential elections on October 9 in Mozambique, opposition party hold rallies in Matola. Republican Trump visits Wisconsin for the fourth time in 8 days, holds rally in the key state.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories now. Updates related to Russia-Ukraine conflict. Dutch Defence Minister has announced during a surprise visit to Kiev that the Netherlands will invest 400 million euros in advanced drone development with Ukraine. This collaboration aims to enhance battlefield technology, combining Ukraine's innovation with Dutch expertise. If successful, further funding will follow to ramp up production. The Netherlands has already committed 10 billion euros in military aid, spending 4 billion so far. Brekelmans also pledged additional F-16s in the coming months. After visiting the heavily bombed city of Kharkiv, he stated that striking military targets inside Russia is crucial to defending the city from ongoing attacks.
We just delivered the F-16s. Today I can officially announce that the F-16s, the Dutch F-16s, are in Ukrainian airspace. And today I also announced that we have an action plan on drones. So we will invest 400 million in the most advanced drones because we see that they are making a big difference on the battlefield. We have been in Kharkiv. The only way to defend Kharkiv is to attack military targets in Russia.
And Tunisia's presidential election saw a low turnout, with President Kais Saied expected to win easily as opposition parties largely boycotted the vote. Official results are not expected until Monday evening, but an exit poll showed Kais Saied in the lead with 89.2% of votes. If the results are confirmed, there will be no runoff vote. Supporters of Tunisian President Kais Saied gathered in Tunis to celebrate after exit polls indicated his victory in the presidential election. And Sunday's election pit Saied against two rivals, his former ally, Shah Party leader Zuhair Maghzoui and Ayachi Zamil, a businessman who was seen as posing a big threat to Said's re-election until he was jailed last month. Tunisians voted on Sunday in an election in which President Kais Saied is seeking a second term, with his main rival Zamil and most opponents imprisoned or barred from running. Now, Brazilians voted on Sunday for mayors and city councillors in more than 5,500 municipal elections, setting the country's political landscape ahead of a 2026 presidential race. President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva casted his vote in Sao Paulo, where he told journalists there had been a surge in candidates who were focused in provoking others and spreading fake news. All eyes are on the mayoral vote in Sao Paulo, where 3 candidates are running neck and neck after an aggressive campaign, setting the stage for a second round runoff on October 27. Centre-right incumbent Mayor Ricardo Nunes, who led the race until last week, is tied for second place at 26% of the votes with far-right digital influencer Pablo Marçal. To win outright in the first round, candidates need to gain more than 50% of valid votes. Now, Bosnians also went to the polls on Sunday to vote in local mayoral elections. Bosnia's election commission decided to postpone local elections this weekend in municipalities affected by the floods, while allowing voting to proceed elsewhere. In the municipalities of Jablanica, Konjic, Kiseljak, Kresovo and Fojnica, which were hit by floods, the elections have been postponed until further notice. Bakir Izetbegovic, the leader of the Party of Democratic Action, one of the main Bosniak parties, offered condolences to the areas impacted by deadly floods after casting his vote in Sarajevo. Serb separatist leader Milorad Dodik said the people would base their decisions on criteria such as loyalty and patriotism. Dodik, the president of the autonomous Serb Republic, has long advocated for the secession of Serb-dominated region from Bosnia. And the leader of Mozambique's main opposition party, Osofo Mombade, held a final rally on Sunday in Matola ahead of the presidential and legislative elections on October 9. Mombade was warmly greeted by supporters upon his arrival at the rally. He addressed the crowd in Portuguese and pledged to prioritize safety, social justice in a bid to end the ruling Frelimo party's half-a-century rule. Opposition party Renamo supporters voiced their frustration with the current ruling party and their desire for change, highlighting issues such as need for improved youth employment, housing, hospital services, education resources and utility services. All right, update on U.S. presidential elections now. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump held a rally in Wisconsin, a key battleground state that could decide the November 5 election. This rally came just a day after Trump revisited Butler, Pennsylvania, the site of an assassination attempt on his life in July. Trump has faced 2 attempts on his life, including a September plot where a gunman hid undetected at his Florida golf course before being thwarted by the U.S. Secret Service. Urging voters to turn out, Trump emphasized the importance of Wisconsin, one of 7 critical states that could determine the election's outcome. This marked his 4th visit to Wisconsin in just 8 days as he ramps up his campaign efforts.
I will liberate Wisconsin and our entire nation from this mass migration invasion of murderers, child predators, drug dealers, gang members, and thugs. It'll be liberated. It'll liberate. And I'm only asking you to do one thing. We don't even need your money. Keep your money. Just go out and vote.
Former First Lady Melania Trump has reiterated her stance on abortion, saying she believed in individual freedom and that she didn't want government to interfere with her personal choices. In an interview with Fox News, Melania said her husband Donald Trump was aware of her position on abortion rights that puts her at apparent odds with that of the Republican U.S. presidential candidate.
Individual freedom. I want to decide what I want to do with my body. I think I don't want government in my personal business. I think it's very important. And as I said in the book, and it's very well explained in the chapter, what does really my body, my choice means? because timing really matters, and also the restrictions. So I encourage people to read it, because we live in the world that everybody should have individual freedom.
Trump had previously taken credit for appointing 3 U.S. Supreme Court justices who helped in 2022 to overturn the seminal abortion rights case. Roe v. Wade, he has decreed 6-week abortion bans as too restrictive, said he would not support a national ban on the procedure, and called for exceptions on any ban to include incidents of rape and incest or to protect the health of the mother. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris rejected comments made by Republican Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who suggested Harris lacks humility because she has no biological children. Speaking on the Call Her Daddy podcast, Harris called Sanders' views on family outdated, sharing her own modern family with husband Doug Emhoff and his 2 children Cole and Ella. Harris emphasized that family comes in many forms, saying, "We have family by blood and we have family by love." In response to earlier remarks by Trump's running mate J.D. Vance, who criticized childless cat ladies, Harris condemned the statements as mean-spirited. Harris' appearance on the podcast is part of a broader media push as she ramps up her campaign efforts in the final stretch. Now, Catalonia's largest human towers contest took place on Sunday with a total of 52 teams participating in the highly anticipated Castles competition. The final round featured 12 teams, thrilling some 11,000 spectators who gathered at the historic Barraco Arena Placa to watch hundreds of participants competing. And Guatemala hosted an opening ceremony at the Marina Pauala cruise terminal in Puerto San Jose to mark the start of the 2024-25 cruise season. A ribbon was cut by Harris Whitebeck, director of the Guatemalan Institute of Tourism, and Paulo Rivera, captain of the Sapphire Princess cruise ship. The event also marks the first docking of a Sapphire Princess cruise ship in the country. Ahead of multiple summits, Laos capital Vientiane is all set and prepared for the coming days. More than 2,000 delegates and around 1,000 international media outlets are expected to attend the 44th and 45th ASEAN summits and related summits set to be held from October 8 to October 11 in the capital of Laos. The Moulin Rouge, a famous Parisian cabaret, opened its doors on October 6, 1889 for the first time. The special show completes 135 years this year. Filled with energy, the cabaret performers, dressed in vibrant colors, make the audience dance with them in unison. The world's most famous cabaret has been offering enchantment with 2 shows every night, representing a total of nearly 50,000 curtain rises. Filled with energy, the cabaret performer, dressed in vibrant colors and frilly outfits, make the audience dance with them in unison. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Ahead of counting of votes in J&K and Haryana on October 8, security beefed up in and around all counting centres. Indian city of Ayodhya being developed as first solar energy model city to utilize renewable energy potential. We'll show you dance drama at Nav Durga Mahotsav performed by actor and BJP MP Hema Malini to mark 9-day Navratri celebrations.
Welcome to Lakshadweep, the land of 100,000 islands, the aquatic wonderland of India, an archipelago of spectacular marine gems, colorful coral and crystal clear lagoons, a kaleidoscope of turquoise blue. Each island of Lakshadweep draws in explorers with its unique beauty. Witness idyllic sunsets and pristine beaches of Kavarati, the majestic lighthouse and colorful boat races at Minikoi. Experience water sports in the shallow lagoons of Kadmat. Unwind in the serene setting of Bangaram. Lakshadweep offers a precious heritage of ecology and culture, with rhythmic beats of folk dances echoing through these islands, delighting visitors in traditional folk dances and local artworks with abundant marine life and mineral resources. The islands are advancing towards a greener, brighter future. Lakshadweep is set to amaze visitors with its breathtaking wonders and picturesque seascapes in the enduring spirit of incredible India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap on what we have done so far. Israel marks October 7 attack anniversary with intensified strikes on Gaza and Lebanon. Hezbollah's rockets hit the Israeli port city of Haifa. Maldives President Mohammad Muizzu to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Bilateral, regional and international issues on the agenda. A massive blast outside Pakistan's Karachi airport leaves 2 Chinese nationals dead and several injured. Balochistan Liberation Army claims responsibility for the attack. Authorities urge evacuation as Florida braces for Hurricane Milton. Highest storm surge, destruction feared ahead of Wednesday's landfall. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will inaugurate DefConnect 4.0 in New Delhi, focus on advancing indigenous defence innovations for self-reliance. A massive explosion outside Karachi airport in Pakistan leaves 2 Chinese nationals dead and several injured. In a statement emailed to journalists, separatist group Baloch Liberation Army claimed the explosion was an attack carried out by them using a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device targeting Chinese nationals, including engineers. The blast, suspected to have targeted foreigners, raises concerns about the safety of Chinese workers involved in China's Belt and Road Initiative. The BLA seeks independence for the province of Balochistan, located in Pakistan's southwest and bordering on Afghanistan and Iran. In August, it launched coordinated attacks in the province in which more than 70 people were killed. Now, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will inaugurate DefConnect 4.0 in Delhi, marking a significant step towards advancing indigenous innovation and celebrating the growing defence ecosystem of the country. DefConnect 4.0 marks a milestone in India's defence innovation journey, which will feature an exciting technology showcase presenting IDEX innovators with a unique opportunity to exhibit their cutting-edge technologies, advanced capabilities and groundbreaking products. DefConnect 4.0 will feature launches and announcement by the Minister alongside interactive and engaging sessions featuring industry leaders and defence stalwarts. The event will also include a theme session focusing on recent budget announcements, key takeaways for the defense innovation ecosystem and the latest initiatives in the semiconductor domain. Preparations are underway in India's Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana for counting of votes on October 8. Security has been beefed up in and around all the counting centres, where monitoring of strong rooms is being observed through CCTVs. The counting of votes for 90 seats each of both the legislative assemblies will take place from 8 a.m. IST tomorrow. Meanwhile, entry to the campuses housing counting centres has been restricted to officials authorized for the counting, and no person without an authorized pass will be allowed to come near the counting centres. Election Commission officials are ensuring that all principles of fairness and transparency as per guidelines be followed. Alright, now let's take a look at the other stories making news. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has unveiled the new multicolored logo for Mahakumbh 2025. The logo symbolizes religious and economic prosperity with the depiction of the Amrit Kalash, a sacred vessel from the mythological ocean churning. The logo for Mahakumbh, which is one of the largest festivals globally, has been crafted to reflect its diverse and far-reaching impact. Actor and Bharatiya Janata Party MP from the North India state of Uttar Pradesh's Mathura, Hema Malini presented a dance drama at Navdurga Mahotsav as she played Goddess Durga to mark 9-day Navratri celebrations. Lower House Speaker of the Indian Parliament Om Birla was also present there. The Navdurga Mahotsav is a festival celebrating the 9 forms of Goddess Durga. Preetpal Kaur, the Superintendent of Police of Phek District in India's northeastern state of Nagaland, has been selected as the 2024 IACP 40 Under 40 awardee by the prestigious US-based International Association of Chiefs of Police. The dentist-turned-Indian Police Service officer is among 40 police officers selected from around the world for the award and the lone winner of the 2024 IACP 40 Under 40 award from India this year. An Indian city of Ayodhya is currently being developed as the first solar energy model city in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Under the initiative, 40 megawatt solar power plant will be developed spread over 165 acres. Aim is to utilize renewable energy potential to the maximum extent for fulfilling the electricity requirements of the city. This large-scale project is anticipated to be fully operational by March 2028. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. US President sends troops to provide aid to areas impacted by Hurricane Helene. In cricket, India registered a comfortable 7-wicket victory over Bangladesh in the first T20I of the 3-match series. And we'll show you Navratri's special Garba dance performed in Indian state of Gujarat, which is played with fire in the state.
गर फिरदौस बर रुए ज़मीं अस्त हमी अस्तो हमी अस्तो हमी अस्त Jammu and Kashmir, nature's finest works. A land of verdant valleys, pristine lakes, striking autumns, unforgettable majestic beauty. A place of unwavering devotion, wholehearted smiles, and warm hospitality. World famous for its exquisite artistry. Leader in diverse agricultural products. Heartland of winter sports. Jammu and Kashmir is vibrant, diverse, ambitious, future-focused, full of life. Welcome to heaven on earth.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Weather updates now. Milton strengthened from a tropical storm to hurricane on Sunday is projected to make landfall on Wednesday morning. Florida governor has warned of a potentially higher storm surge and power outages. Florida's Emergency Management Division has urged people to prepare for the largest evacuation likely since 2017. The new hurricane has the potential to affect areas already reeling with the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. President Biden has urged all citizens and residents in Florida to listen to local officials and make preparations as needed.
Milton is now a hurricane. We said earlier this morning that it was possible that could happen today. Some said it might happen tomorrow, and it's already happened. And so it's strengthened. These are obviously local decisions about evacuation, but you have a storm where the range of possibilities are basically the entire Florida peninsula on the Gulf Coast. The storm's going to be powerful enough to potentially generate major storm surge.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden has approved mobilization of another 500 active duty troops to North Carolina to assist in the recovery efforts after the deadly and devastating Hurricane Helene. With a total of 1,500 troops now supplementing a robust on-the-ground effort, including more than 6,100 National Guardsmen and more than 7,000 federal personnel. The Biden-Harris administration is mobilizing all relevant resources to support families as they begin their road to rebuilding. Helene has killed more than 200 people across 6 states so far. And in the flood-stricken community of Swananoa, North Carolina, volunteer veterinarians are providing vital care to pets affected by Hurricane Helene. Once again, members of our animal rescue team are taking action on the ground in the wake of disaster in a particularly brutal storm season. As residents struggle to rebuild, the mobile clinic offers much-needed medical treatment, with grateful pet owners expressing relief for their animals' care amid the devastation. Business stories now. Japan leads Asia's stock rally and the dollar reached a fresh 7-week peak on the yen on Monday. After blowout, U.S. labor data dispelled fears of a recession and spurred a sharp pairing of rate cut bets. Short-term U.S. Treasury yields rose after the closely watched non-farm payrolls report on Friday. Crude oil prices eased from a 1-month peak even as Israel bombed targets in Lebanon and the Gaza Strip, with Monday marking 1 year since the Hamas attack. U.S. Dow futures pointed 0.08% higher after the cash index closed at an all-time peak on Friday. Welcome back. You're watching. Time now for sports updates. We'll start with cricket. India registered a comfortable 7-wicket win over Bangladesh to take 1-0 lead in the first T20I of the 3-match series in Gwalior on Sunday. India first bowled out Bangladesh for 127 and then chased down the target of 128 with 49 balls to spare. Asked to bat first, Bangladesh were in early trouble at 14 for 2 with left-arm seamer Arshdeep Singh removing both openers Liton Das and Parvez Hossain. It was also a memorable night for Varun Chakravarti, who made his comeback to the national side after 3 years, taking 3 wickets in the match. India were in total control of the game with Mayank Yadav and Washington Sundar picking up wickets in the middle overs. With the bat, Hardik Pandya blazed away to an unbeaten 16-ball 39, while Sanju Samson and skipper Suryakumar Yadav got out after scoring 29. Meanwhile, in Women's T20 World Cup on Sunday, former champion West Indies defeated Scotland by 6 wickets. The 2016 winner, which had suffered a 10-wicket thrashing by the South Africans at the same Dubai venue on Friday, was rarely threatened by a Scotland side making its tournament debut this year. The Scots struggled to 99 for 8 in their 20 overs before the West Indies chased down the target with 50 balls to spare, securing victory and an impressive boost to its net run rate. Kiana Joseph top scored with 31 from 18 balls, hitting 3 fours and a 6. Meanwhile, Deandra Doughton cracked 2 sixes in her undefeated 28 from 15 balls, while sharing an unbroken 5th wicket stand of 42 with player of the match Chanel Henry. Tennis now, Coco Gauff overpowered Karolina Mukova in straight sets to win the China Open on Sunday for her second title of the year and 8th overall. The 20-year-old American and last year's US Open champion stormed to victory 6-1, 6-3 in 1 hour, 16 minutes in Beijing, adding China Open to a triumph in Auckland in January. Gauff made a fast start, breaking the check for a 2-0 lead in the first set and then holding her own serve without conceding a point. The young America rattled off momentarily but wrapped up the first set up in 29 minutes on her third set point. Gauff is the second US player to win the China Open after Serena Williams was victorious in 2004 and 2013. And Francesco Bagnaia claimed the Japan MotoGP title ahead of championship frontrunner Jorge Martin on Sunday. Italy's Bagnaia cut the Spaniard's lead in the overall standings to 10 points with 4 races remaining. Defending world champion Bagnaia overtook pole sitter Pedro Acosta on the first lap at Motegi and stayed in front to finish 1.189 seconds ahead of Martin, with Marc Marquez third. It was Bagnaia's 8th Grand Prix win of the season, his best ever tally. It was also his first victory at the Japan MotoGP. And as the 9-day festivities of Navratri continue across India, in the western Indian state of Gujarat, a special Garba dance was performed which is known as the Mashal Ras. It is a unique Garba which is played with fire in the state. It is majorly performed by men. The men were seen dressed in traditional Gujarati attire, circling around and dancing with torches in their hands to the beats of popular folk songs as spectators took in the festive mood from their homes. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.